Hello class. This is going to be a very brief recording on Oracle's Chapter 6 set operations. It's not a very difficult chapter to understand conceptually, so hence a very brief recording. Anyway, I'm going to start off by asking you to get your PowerPoint notes. And I'm on slide 2. Well, this chapter introduces set operations. In Oracle, when you get an output, that is considered to be a result set. So the output that you get is a result set. The set operations that Oracle allows are a binary union, binary intersection, and a set difference. Now, a lot of other SQL may not allow all of these different operations, but Oracle allows them. Anyway, the binary union, example of joining two sets, an example of that would be shown on page 206 of your book. So if you take a moment to turn to page 206, and we'll just take a few moments to look at that. If you look at the bottom of your page on page 206, there is a query that says select S name from student where major equals COSC, which is computer science. So first what we're doing is we're finding the set of people who are computer science majors, and then we're finding the set of people who are math majors, and then you're unioning the two. So you're putting the two together. So the result displays the name of students who major in either computer science or math. And when you use the union operation, the result set is sorted and it does not contain any duplicates. Now Oracle also has, and I'm going to explain this in a couple slides later, there's a union all predicate, and the union all does not sort or remove the duplicates. Anyway, going back to the slide, or rather the union, talking about the union a little bit more. So basically when you want to find something which, if you want to find this set plus this set plus this set, you basically use a union. Now that is not to say that you cannot find the same result using other avenues, that you may be able to find the same result using joins, and that is fine. This is just another way of achieving the result. Okay, nobody's going to ask you to and say, well, you have to use a join or you have to use a union. It's really going to be up to you once you've learned these different tools as to which one it's going to be, which one you'd like to use. Typically, most people get used to the joins and they just keep continuing, which is really fine with me. It doesn't matter. Except in this chapter, I may specifically ask you to use the union in the exercises just because we're trying to learn the concept. So, I'm on slide 3. I'm still on slide 3. I'm on the second bullet. In this chapter, we also introduced the in and the not in operators. So basically, is something in the set or is it not in the set? Okay. So you could find, if something is in the set or not in the set. And if you turn a few pages in your book, or maybe just a page in your book, look at page 208. There is select in the middle of the page. Select S name, comma, class from student where class in 3 or 4. So you're finding all the people who are in class 3 or 4. Now again, if you read on to page 209, you will find that the same thing could be found with an OR operator, okay, which is the example we show on the next page. So that's where I'm saying you can have other ways of finding these answers, but we're just trying to, pretty much have you learn the different techniques and make sure you learn all the different techniques. So middle of page 209, you could also find something from a different set. Okay, so that's where there's that query where it says using in, and then that the in is used to find something from a different set. Okay, so going to slide 4. You can use the union all in place of the union. The union all works exactly like the union but does not expunge the duplicates or sort the results. So processing time-wise, the union all is very efficient, but because it doesn't sort and doesn't remove the duplicates. But but then the result is not sorted, or you don't have duplicates removed. Now, if you want to keep duplicates, then you would use a union all. So it would depend on what the result is that you want displayed. And some of you may ask, well, why would I want to keep duplicates? Well, there may be reasons or times where you really would want the duplicates because you want to find the actual number in the set or something like that. So there are times when you really would want the duplicate, maybe to keep the duplicate. Anyway, getting to slide 5, the minus predicate finds the tuples that are in one set and not in the other. Okay, and an example of that would be on page 218. So, we've given an example of a minus being used where something is found in the set or not in the other. But once again, so we've got, we find the first set, and you're minusing, you're taking off the second set. Now, this may not be the very best example, but just say, for example, you're finding all the math majors and computer science majors, but then you want to remove all the people who are freshmen. Okay, so that may be a minusing the duplicates or something, minusing the freshmen or whatever. So that would be an example of a minus operation. And again, if you turn to the page previous to this page, you'll find out that, or even on the next page, on page 219, there is the not in operator. Okay, it's not the not in, but it's if you turn to page 217, where we've got the in and the not in combination, which could be used in place of the minus operation. Okay, so again, this is just illustrating the point where we're just trying to display different techniques for you, just so that you can learn the different techniques. So you could do the minus with a combination of the in and the not in operator. And actually Oracle has a minus, so you are in good shape. But if you use other SQL, for example, if some of you decide to do a particular project in Access SQL, Access does not have the minus operator. So in that case, you will have to use the in and the not in operator to achieve pretty much the same results. So so that's the in and the not in and the minus operator. Now, we haven't talked about the intersect operator. I'll just take a couple seconds to talk about that. So if you turn on to page 210 in your book, there is the intersect operator. At the bottom query, say select student a number from student and intersect that with from the grade report with it is a grade of 8. So that's basically finding all the students with a grade of 8. Again, the intersect operator here, you could have done the same thing with the join operator. So basically, the chapter on set operations actually can be achieved through other means, and this is really just yet another way that you can achieve the same results. Now, as you proceed or progress or work more and more with SQL, you may find certain places where the set operations come in more handy than the join, because sometimes you could be confusing things with the join, and if you want results in sets and if you're thinking in sets and if that's how your data is and it has to be analyzed in a set-wise fashion, it may be more comfortable or convenient or reasonable for you to use joins. So set operations. So they do have their pros and cons, and this is basically really all I have to say for this chapter. It is a really simple chapter for you to understand. So I'm going to kind of end the explanation right here, and I'll let you read in detail the book and answer the questions. Bye.